Good morning. My name is Bryan Debbink. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I serve this community as treasurer and financial truth teller. Just like our prelude this morning, our shared ministry continues with our opening words. The words are up on the screen behind me, and your words are in bold. All that we are, together and individually, is part of the abundance of the universe.
We are made of stars. We are made of earth.
All that comes from the earth, from the labor of those in our communities.
From the cities, farms, and oceans that lie in us, the world and those who live in it.
We are surrounded by blessing, by grace, and by possibilities.
We are reflected in every other human being.
We respect and honor one another's differences.
We celebrate our interbeing with abundance and the practice of generosity.
Come, let us worship together.
As we gather this morning, let us pause and acknowledge that the ground upon which we gather is the ancestral and current home of the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshute, and Ute tribes. With humility for the ways in which we have unwittingly participated in the harms perpetuated in the past and present, we seek now to learn a new way forward. We begin to partner, to ally, and witness with our Indigenous siblings and friends the bringing forth of a new sacred dream of a community restored and a world healed to a greater wholeness. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Cate McGillivray, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. Welcome to all who are gathered here in the sanctuary and to those at home in our virtual audience. We extend an especially warm welcome to those of you who are here for the first or second time, and we're so glad you're here, and we look forward to getting to know you. So the announcements today. First of all, we have childcare available downstairs for children who are around 3 or younger, and Zoe will be providing that childcare for you. We have a lot going on in our church, and Happenings is the best place for you to find that information. And there's a full list of events and details, but I'll highlight a few. Today we have the Humanist group meeting at 11:30 in the boardroom. If you're interested, please come. The book club will meet tomorrow, Monday night, the 26th at 7 o'clock in the church basement. Volunteers of America are always needing help to provide meals for the Youth Resource Center. They can use help to prepare meals, serve at the center, and donate money. So now I'd like to introduce Kristen May with other information, and then following her will be Caitlin Collins.
Hello, I'm Kristen May, she, her, and I'm so excited to be making this announcement today. And it is for every single person in this room and on Zoom, everyone. But first, why didn't the couple like the restaurant they went to on the moon? It had no atmosphere. Why weren't the astronauts hungry when they got into space? Oh, they just had such a big launch. What is in common with these terrible, terrible jokes? They are space-themed. And do you want to know what else is space-themed? The return, after 5 years, of one of South Valley's most fun, anticipated programs. Yeah. Mystery Pals! So if you've started attending South Valley in the past 5 years, you probably haven't heard of it, unfortunately, but it is something that South Valley was known for. And let me just tell you briefly a little bit about it. I will be downstairs after services for more information. So how it works is for today, after service today, starting today, and for the next 2 Sundays, I will be downstairs, and you can sign up to participate in Mystery Pals. There will also be an online registration if you'd like to do it that way. After the registrations are closed, we will match you with a space crew of probably 2 other people, maybe 3, and you won't know who they are. It'll be a mystery. And then starting on March 24th, we'll have our first exchange day. So you'll bring a note and a small gift for one of your crew members, and you'll bring it before services, and then after service, you'll get a note and a small gift from one of your crew members. And then we'll do that again on April 7th. You don't have to remember these days. I'll have them written down. We'll do a second exchange. And then on a 3rd Sunday, April 14th, we'll have a big party, a luncheon downstairs after service. You'll get to meet everyone in your crew. You'll get to do some space missions and activities together. And the thing I like about this program is the people on your space crew may be people that you wouldn't normally get to know. They could have different interests. They might be different ages. But it's a way to build connections in our community. And I won't put anyone on the spot, but if anyone has participated in Mystery Pals in the past, I bet you if I had them think, can you remember who one of your Mystery Pals was? They will know. They will know the name. It's something that it's a lasting connection that you form with people. So I really hope that you'll consider joining us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you.
Hi, I am Caitlin, she, her, and I'm up here to talk about Starting Point. So we are looking forward to hosting our next Starting Point group very soon. The next gathering for our first spring session will be next Sunday, March 3rd, and then also March 10th and 24th, so it's only 3 Sundays. Starting Point offers newcomers insight into what the larger UU community is about, what our own South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society is about, and what it has to offer. It gives us all the opportunity to meet others new to our congregation and to develop deep and active listening skills as we share our individual journeys in what Sherry likes to call from here to there, sharing our similarities as well as our differences. We will be gathering after church service in the high school and youth room from 11:30 to 1:30, and there's lots of yummy food. There's currently a space for some more folks to join us, and Joshua has a lovely clipboard, so if you're interested, go sign up. If you have any questions about Starting Point, you can either ask Joshua or myself, and we will do our best to answer them for you. And on a personal note, I did Starting Point a while ago, and it was so much fun. So, come try it. It's a lot of fun. Thank you.
So let us now take a moment to welcome each other and with warmth.
Now I'm tired. Of course, in the Christian gospel tradition, the land they refer to is heaven. As Unitarian Universalists, we work to create heaven here on earth in this life, in this time, for all time. And indeed, if you take out your gray hymnal, got it here somewhere, go to hymn 1. You don't have to do this. I'm just saying if you theoretically wanted to do this. If you go to hymn 1 and it stays there and then you go back a page, one page, this lists out our principles and below that are our 6 sources, which I find every bit as informative and important as these 7 and now 8 principles. I think it was ratified. 8th principle? Yeah. 8 principles now. There's one that's not listed here. These 6 sources are every bit as important as those principles that get talked about quite a bit in Unitarian Universalist congregations. They are the 6 sources from which we draw meaning and inspiration for our living and ever-changing tradition. One of them makes yous slightly uncomfortable by mentioning Christian traditions. Not all you yous find that uncomfortable. I hope that we are trying to poke holes in that for everybody here with allowing for mentions of God and other traditions. But with that in mind, I feel wholly appropriate and duty-bound to call us into worship with a Bible reading. I warned you last night if you came to the big event. From 1 Tim chapter 6, verses 6 through 12. I'm sure you know it well. Of course, godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, so we cannot carry anything out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with these. Those who want to be rich, however, fall into temptation and become ensnared with many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. By craving it, some have wandered away from faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. But you, O man of God, flee from these things and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, perseverance, and gentleness. Fight the good fight of the faith.
And so now we will light our chalice. And I would like to ask Etla to come forward. Do you want to do the words?
Let us light our chalice. We invite you to stand in body, mind, or spirit as we say our chalice lighting words, and use our actions if you want. Those at home are invited to light a chalice and share in this ritual by entering "Chalice is lit" at the name and the name of your street in the chat box in Zoom. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, for the light of truth, and for the energy of action. Oh, and for the flames of resistance.
Thank you. Okay, so now we have time for all ages. So if the young and young at heart would like to come forward, we will have a story. That's right. Yep, you're right. Go ahead. Help me lift it up. Come, we'll turn it around. Come and get a pillow. Oops. You guys take care of that, and I'm going to get something. Has everybody got a pillow? Not quite. Oh, you got one. All right. Okay. So I got a few things I need to get out for our story. Ooh, where do you think we're going to go?
A dolphin.
Where do you think we'll go with the dolphin? Where do you think we're at? Yeah, where are we? The beach. That's right. Look at all these great things we have. That's right. So I have before I start my story though, I would like to meet you. So do you know my name? No. My name is Cate. That's right. Somebody else's name is Cate here. And I can see.
My big sister.
You big sister. Okay. So now everybody can greet me and say, hi, Cate. And I can say, hi, Max. Right? Hi, Max. So I'm glad to have all your name tags because that will really help me. So I have a story, and I hope that you will help me with the story. Shall we go? Here we go. Once upon a time, in a shimmering sea of coral reefs, there lived a tiny clownfish named... Who is this? Who do you think that is? His name is Pip. Yes, it's Pip. Right. And Pip was happiest when he was laughing with his friends and collecting seashells. He spent hours sifting through the sand looking for seashells. Do you ever do that? Do you ever go to the beach and look for seashells? Not yet, but maybe when you get a little older.
In my dream, I did.
In your dream you did. Well, this is what seashells are. You can find them on the beach. So one day, Pip found the most magnificent shell he'd ever seen. It shimmered with color, all colors of the rainbow. It was so beautiful, and it was big, and it was shiny. He loved it. But greed fluttered into his tiny heart. What's greed? Who knows what greed is? It's what? Greediness. If you're greedy, what do? You don't do something. You don't share. Exactly. You don't share. He wouldn't share it. It was his. He found it. So he didn't need to share it. And he scurried away to hide it. But Pip's joy was soon turned pretty sour. Can you make a sour face? What does a sour face look like? Yes, right. Your forehead goes together and your face goes down. And why do you think he was upset? What do you think he was worried about?
About his seashell.
About his seashell, that somebody might take it. Right. And so he was worried about that. It was his, remember? He found it. And so because he was so worried about that, he didn't hang out with his friends anymore. And he had that scowl on his face, that frowny face. So his friends stayed away. Oh, so he was lonely, actually. But one dark and stormy night, the wind blew the water so hard, he couldn't swim against it, and he was dragged away. Oh my. He was lost and he was scared, but he had his shell. But he didn't have his friends to feel safe with. Do friends make you feel safe? Yeah? But he saw a flash of light, and he followed it to a giant clamshell that was a little bit open, and in there he could see a tiny shrimp, whose name was... What do you think his name could be? Shrimpy. That's exactly right. This is Shrimpy. And Shrimpy was crying and shivering, and he was scared because of the storm. Well, Pip saw him, and he dropped his shell, and he darted right in, and he cuddled up with Shrimpy, and together they rode out the storm. Yep. But as storms do, it was over, and the sea became a shining, shimmering ocean again. So Pip and Shrimpy swam back to the reef where Pip's friends were cheerfully welcomed him back, and they were so relieved to see him that he was okay, and his laughter filled the reef again. And from then on, Pip decided he was going to share. He was going to share his treasures, his shiny seashells, his laughter, and his stories. What are some things that you share?
Everything.
You share everything. What do you share?
I share everything to my sister, even though she's mad.
You share your toys with your sister. Yes. How does that make you feel when you share?
I feel happy.
Happy. And how does your sister feel when you share?
So happy.
And happy too. So we all feel good and so good. Right. So we all want to share. So that's our story about good times with our friends
And share.
and sharing with our friends so we can have a good feeling with our friends and ride out those stormy seas together too. So it's good to share, right? Thank you for being here, and now we're friends and we'll help each other. All right? So now we're going to put our cushions away and we'll sing you downstairs. Thank you for your help. This community, our church, and its many ministries are only made possible by the gifts you give of your time, your talent, and your treasure. Many of you pledge monthly to support our work, and for this we are grateful. Your gifts help to ensure that we are able to live our values of love and justice in the world outside. Part of our ministry at South Valley includes sharing our Sunday worship offerings with a charitable organization that aligns with our principles and values. For the months of January and February, we are supporting the Boy Ogoyo land restoration project at the site of the Bear River Massacre in southern Idaho. The Shoshone tribe is working to restore the ecology of the Boy Ogoya to what it would have looked like in the 1863s when the massacre took place. They are also planning to build the Boy Ogoya Cultural Interpretive Center that will provide interactive and educational experiences about the Shoshone culture and history. Please join me in reading our offertory words. They're printed on in your service, order of service, and they're on the TV now. We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together, we share in the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts. So if the ushers would like to come forward.
As always, Tara, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful gifts. And thank you for all of your gifts, for all that we have received and all that we have found the courage to give. May we be truly thankful. May these gifts be a blessing to South Valley and the Bia Ogoi Land Restoration Project. It's water. Oh, also, it's Christmas, and did we get that kiss cam going we talked about last night? Because, I don't know, you probably can't see it, but Santa and Mrs. Claus there are kissing. Oh. All right, returning to our fourth source, I just call it the fourth source because it's the fourth one on the list. It says Jewish and Christian traditions. And our friend Tim. What was it he said? Money is the root of all evil? No, that's not what he said. Like almost everything, Tim was misquoted and taken entirely out of context by modern society. I checked, and 10 different translations of the Bible all sound almost identical. Tim unequivocally states that it's not money that is evil. It's not a want for the necessities of life. He probably would even give us the occasional indulgence and shrug it off. But no, it's the want to be rich that leads to foolish ruin. We as a society, at all levels, to widely disparate degrees, buy into this system where profit and wealth lead the way to success. Inevitably, according to Tim, that will lead to our collective demise. So turning back to our sources again, if you really want to look at it, you can. Hymn 1, turn back one page at the bottom half of the page. And boom, the last source in the list is earth-centered wisdom and spirituality. Why is that the last one in the list? Anyway, earth-centered can really be thought of as indigenous because, honestly, if you look around the world, there are probably exceptions, but almost universally, in my knowledge, which is not great, but most of the time, earth-centered comes from the people who are indigenous to those lands because they had such a strong tie to it. Now, the EU sources again. Again, hymn 1, turn back a page, bottom half of the page. One of them is direct experience and try that again. The EU sources of direct experience and humanist teachings often lead to examining history, informing the present and the future. In modern society, when we think of financial excesses, we can point to the ultra-rich, capitalists and financiers so good at winning the game of profit and wealth that they have names on every building, foundation, and university. There's no greater time for being really good at making money than the Gilded Age. And thank you to Kevin Alvey for all the evil discussions this month that kind of led to this topic of the Gilded Age. Even when compared with present-day tycoons and oligarchs, those of the late 19th century were in a whole different league. This was a time of simply massive inequality. We don't have reliable stats from the time. They weren't kept the same as they are today. But historians who are experts on the subject estimate that it was at least 50% higher than it is today when we look around and we look at just how massively unequal our society really is today. So just keep that in mind of how that society was compared to now. It's very different. We always like to make these comparisons, but it was on a whole different playing field. Workers had no power, no protections, and owners had all of it and reaped all of the rewards. Innovation happened fast, but one person, one company took it all. Monopolies ruled the day. I bring up the Gilded Age for a couple of reasons. As I said, many people compare that age to today, and indeed, we haven't seen inequality as extreme as it is today since the Gilded Age. More importantly, though, the importance is of how it ended. Over the course of decades, workers for rail, steel, and other massive companies held strikes and disrupted business and transportation throughout the U.S. I don't want to sugarcoat what happened. The Goliaths of industry very much won those battles. Strikers died. Private security forces, state militias, and even the U.S. government, military, were called in to break up the strikes. Yes, our highest offices were involved in breaking up and killing our own people. Propaganda was used to demonize strikers as un-American and evil. Policy and subsequent legal actions stood in the way of change, and workers pretty much always came away with nothing more than they started with. However, over the same time, a stronger press emerged, exposing greed, corruption, and these brutal practices. And strikes and working class support galvanized even stronger unions. Slowly, popular support of the masses rolled over the ruling class. They had gone too far. They had done too much. And they were consuming themselves by calling in the U.S. military, for instance. And people realized this, and there was a huge pushback. And by the turn of the 20th century, figures like Teddy Roosevelt rose to power. He became known as the Trust Buster. Sounds like a great title. We see some parallels in inequality that we see today, right? And we see parallels starting anew today in how the Gilded Age ended. But everything is just a little more muted, right? I mean, like I said, like the ultra-rich aren't quite as rich as they were. Workers have basic protections, minimum wages, all of these sorts of things that we almost take for granted in society today that they didn't have then. And recently, workers have been making more substantial gains, ending decades of backslide in real wages. Unions of all sorts have gained some footing. The media landscape is much, much different. At the same time, it's in a massive transition phase, and we'll see how that unfolds, whether it continues in our divided ways, or if people will wake up and demand something that's a little more holistic. I can only hope that's not a strategy, but I can only hope as me. So what's the point? I think we beat apart the star argument about money being evil and the call to worship. The point is, yes, another source. This time I'll read it. Words and deeds of prophetic people which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. Let's listen to Sherry. Golly, what a prophetic voice. Really, your homework for the week is to watch a YouTube video of Sherry, because that was one clip. That was one 2-minute clip. Look it up. There are YouTube videos of her having interviews. If you have an hour, there's a great lecture that you can watch. Or even better yet, you can read her book, Sacred Instructions. So I'm going to summarize some of her words now. But in interviews and talks, which I, again, recommend to you, she makes a more challenging point yet. When we see those people that we just can't stand, and I think we all just thought of somebody in our heads that we really just can't stand. Won't say any more than that. The ones that we think are dancing us right off that cliff. Our instinct and action is, of course, to replace them with somebody that we like better, that has values, or at least policies, or whatever the things are that we like better. But here's the point. That's conquest. That's a micro-colonization in and of itself. and we need to wake up. Money isn't the problem. We can see that money is a tool, one with sharp blades, but a tool nonetheless, capable of great creation as well as great destruction. As you use, as humans, we can apply our values to our relationship with money. Are we driven by desire for security, comfort, or the ability to help others? I think Tim is basically saying that, right? That's good, right? Or are we consumed with a thirst for power, status, or endless accumulation? Keeping up with the Joneses. I'm guilty of it, right? I mean, I think everybody in this room in our society is, to one degree or another, guilty of that. Does the way we earn and spend money align with our values? Do we support businesses that treat their workers fairly and contribute to a sustainable future? Do we use our resources wisely, avoiding excessive consumption and foolishness? At South Valley, hopefully our aspirations are self-evident. And let us remember the power of collective action. Our individual choices, however well-intentioned and however good, can only go so far. My first summer at South Valley, I preached on climate change, and I'm very much in the policy. At the time, I was very involved in lobbying our state legislature for better climate policy, which of course was more hopeful then than it is now. But I also mentioned in that individual actions, while good, like recycling, right? Recycling is great. It really does not. It pales in comparison to what we can do when we collectively act and we affect policy and change at the societal level. So we need to promote economic justice, dismantle systems of oppression, and create a world in which everyone, including the earth, has a chance to thrive. To get there, South Valley and like-minded groups must stand up and lead out. It's hard to see from the low we sit in, but there are heartbeats of change and progress all around us. As evidenced by the busy Sunday schedules in this building, meeting conflicts on weeknights, and epic parties like we had last night, right? We've got this down. Well, we've got the community part down, right? We need to truly stand up. We must be strong in our friendships, our governance, our programs, our advocacy, and yes, our money to support all of those things. And I'll leave you with one last line from Sherry Mitchell. That is the work of our lives. None of us are born into this time by accident. We are born as ourselves in this time for this reason specifically, because we all have a role to play in the unfolding of this new way of being that we're going to share together down the road. May it be so. Oh, we probably have Please rise in body, mind, or spirit, but especially in spirit, and join together singing We'll Build a Land, number 121. The words are up here. The melody's a little trickier than the last one, so you may want your hymnal out. It's 121, 121.
Please remain, well, can you stand, please, if you would like? Sorry. And join us in our actions as we extinguish our chalice.
Extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. Hold each other in our hearts until we meet again.